Well, it's good to have you this morning on the YouTube side. Once again, if you're watching this as a replay, you can fast forward about 11 minutes. Let's get my guest on the radio. Mic check 1 2.
Yeah, hello.
Representative Dusty Johnson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good, man. We need moisture in the western side of the Dakota Territory, but other than that, we're good.
Oh, are you guys a little dry?
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Down in this neck of the woods, we didn't get anywhere near enough snow, of course, but, if we keep getting a little rain, we'll be all right.
Yeah. Timely rains, man. So just as a heads up here, so the format's pretty simple. We start at 6 minutes past the hour. I have a break at 15 and at 30 that are about 5 minutes long, and then it's just kind of flows in from there. So if I cut you off for any chance or anything, that's because we're up against our time limit for a lot of the radio stations.
Oh yeah, sure, not a problem at all. How long you want this to go?
Hopefully from 6 after until 54, so just shy of an hour.
Oh wow, geez, great. I'll bring my A game then.
You always bring your A game. Also, we have Minot, Bismarck, Dickinson, Mobridge, South Dakota, Pierre, South Dakota radio stations that are carrying it live, and it's also broadcast live on my YouTube channel right now. We're live on YouTube, so just to let you know.
Outstanding.
That's how a lot of folks go around.
Well, I know a lot of South Dakotans listen because in that Mobridge Pier area they mention it.
Good.
And so thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you being able to do this. I'm having a little harder time getting North Dakota reps on, so when you answered your text message right away, I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you got to choose between Kelly Armstrong and Dusty Johnson, there's just no choice.
Come on, Kelly. Get on your game. Yeah. No, so I drove through your hometown this week. Here, I was down in Sioux Falls helping do a equipment auction sale.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody wants to know.
Geez, you traveled a lot. I guess a good auctioneer, they'll travel, but that's a long ways from you. Badlands, Sioux Falls, that's a hike.
It is. It's quite a drive. I think it was about an 8.5 hour drive down and probably about a 9 hour drive back because once we hit Phillip, we went up through Phillip and Lemon, South Dakota, and then over and back this way.
So how close is the fire? Can you see it from the highway?
Yeah, it crossed.
Up near Lemon and Adams County?
It went right over the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been a scary, scary fire because it burned a hell of a lot of acres in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. The guy
as you know better than I do, we just, it's hard to get, age takes its toll. On these rural fire departments, it's hard to make sure you got enough guys to really contain a fire like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was driving with a guy that actually responded over to that fire from the Bowman Fire Department. And then he said he flew it the other day. He's also a pilot, so he just got up in the plane. It was a nice day, and he flew the perimeter, and he says it's just unbelievably how much what 26,000 acres looks like, So.
Yeah, well, it's huge. I haven't checked to see how it compares to, the size of a state like Rhode Island or something. But if you told me it was half the size of that state, it would not shock me.
No,
we got a lot of open country in our neck of the woods.
Yeah. You bet. Big Daddy Dave Williams from Pierre, all hooked up, ready to go. Good deal. Good morning. See, that's what you need, Dusty, is you need a name like that on the house floor, like Big Daddy Dusty Johnson.
Yeah, that'd be good. That would make, I would have a lot more swagger on the house floor if that was the case.
That way, when they introduce you on like NPR, they have to say that whole thing.
Right. Well, a certain number of people think I'm a rodeo entertainer anyway with the name Dusty Johnson. So, and I did grow up in Fort Pierce, so I've got some street cred that way.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, I seen your name on the sign in Mitchell, South Dakota.
Yeah, well, that's where my family and I live now. And if you have to turn off from the interstate up to Fort Pierre and Pierre, they got a sign there too.
Okay. Yeah, we missed that. All right. Karen, good morning from KOLY. Good to have you. Hooked up, ready to rock. Well, yeah. So we'll talk gun legislation, whatever else that may come up. I mean, I don't like to form my programs ahead of time. And I know your lady asked me if we're talking topics, and I'm like, I'm really not that kind of an interview person.
Oh, and it's fine by
yeah,
me. I mean,
I know
frankly,
it is.
the organic float deal, and you and I both know enough about the issues. We'll just have a conversation, and wherever it goes, it goes.
Absolutely. And I have the phone lines. I'll open those up. So if anybody has questions or comments, they can call in.
Yeah.
And, do that. But,
oh yeah, that'll be perfect. I'm looking forward to it. How long, when you get your outs, how long are they?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
So
perfect.
15. So 15 after to 20 after is a break, and 30 to 35 is a break.
All right, good. Well,
gives you time if you have to grab coffee or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, I should heat up my cup of Joe while we got a little bit of downtime here.
Yeah, we still have 3.5 minutes before we start up.
Which is kind of an eternity in radio, right? I mean, it's amazing how much you guys can do with 3 minutes. Like somebody really good, they can get a lot done in that time.
When I was going through communications is my technical college degree, which doesn't give you anything but the chance of talking on the radio, I guess. The whole theory of radio was 3 minutes. Like most songs average about 3 minutes. And the reason is that's the length of anybody's attention span for one topic.
Sure.
So if you see me bouncing around a little bit, there's a reason for that.
Right? Yeah.
Waylon, good morning, buddy. Good to have you tuning in on the YouTube side. Thanks for checking in with me. Yeah. So anyway, things been okay in Washington for you?
They have been, other than the fact that, it's still just, there's kind of a hangover from January 6th. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know. If the first 2 years were more rewarding than I expected, the last 2 months have been worse. I mean, it's still just razor wire and lockdown and 5,000 National Guardsmen. I mean, honestly, it's a little hard to understand or explain why we still have that kind of security posture.
You know why. You and I both know why.
Well, no,
this.
exactly.
That's
right.
They can't pull the wool over the Dakota Territory. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe.
Yeah, although I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I made a Facebook post the other day about how the posture is not really supported by any kind of threat assessment, and that's not how you're supposed to make security decisions. It's supposed to be based on good data. And I thought it would be kind of a universally endorsed view, and it was not. There are a lot of people who still just, I don't know, they're convinced that I guess I'm one of the guys who on January 6th who was,
well, it's hard
storming the Capitol.
When it's very difficult for me when you see what are supposed to be law enforcement officers not do a damn thing and actually open the gates to let them in and had their hands like, come on, let's go. So what happened to all those videos? They were taken down very quickly, weren't they?
Yeah, I think, now I don't, we're of course still trying to get to the bottom of this. I mean, I think that was a tactical decision that I think has been endorsed by some, security tacticians, that once other areas of the perimeter had been breached, what you don't want to do is get surrounded. And so they, that was apparently something they had been training to do. Now, I have not verified the accuracy of that. That's just a claim that's been made.
I'll tell you this right now, Dusty. It seems fishy to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of questions. There have been a lot of questions asked.
If I was,
we're not done with this review by a far cry.
If I was a security officer at the nation's capital, hell, I don't care where I was. I could be in Fort Pierre at any one of the businesses, and somebody started doing that, I would stand up and do everything I could to stop it. But here we have a few seconds. I'm going to turn you down and give us a countdown to the radio station. Stand by here. Radio stations. We have 15 seconds. 15 seconds starting on mark. 15. 5 seconds. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm Scott Bachmeyer, and I'm broadcasting from the bunkhouse this morning here somewhere in the Badlands. Who knows where it is here? Before we get started, I want to welcome all the cattle producers to the DK Red Angus Ranch Annual Bull Sale. It's going on today at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. I myself headed up right after the Ring radio program here today, and going to be helping them be their ringman and the representative for the sale. And I tell you what, they've outdone themselves this year with another great set of purebred Red Angus bulls and a whole bunch of other consignments coming in. Sale starts 2 o'clock Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. What a great sunrise this morning, and thank God I have the opportunity to see another one here. The phone lines, of course, will be open today. You can call in, join in on the conversation at 888-932-5682. Again, that toll-free number is 888-932-5682. It's easy to remember if you go 888-9-DAKOTA. You can do that too. Spent the week traveling South Dakota. I was hired as an independent contractor auctioneer for an equipment sale all the way down in the corner in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Drove through Mitchell, South Dakota, as they have the sign that says home of Representative Dusty Johnson. And I thought, you know how nice it would be to have him come on my radio program, give us a chance to see what's happening on the federal side, especially when it comes to something I hold dear to myself, gun control, legislation, and, of course, whatever else may be up for discussion that'll impact the great citizens of the Dakota Territory. Good morning, Representative Dusty Johnson. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So what's a day in the life of Dusty Johnson right now when you wake up in Washington, D.C.?
Well, honestly, things in D.C. are not very pretty right now. I know a lot of Americans heard President Biden's inaugural address, and they thought, well, unity, 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 this is going to be good. Our country needs some of that right now. Maybe they were tired of the fighting and the snarling. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, Scott, but I would tell you that, frankly, the vibe is more partisan now than it was in the last term, my first term in Congress. And I take no pride in saying that, but that is the reality.
It is the reality, and you and I were discussing this before we even got on the radio. That was, I don't think many people can pull the wool over the eyes of the Dakota Territory citizens. We see what's happening. We see the writing on the wall, and how come the rest of the nation, especially the news media, am I the only news media that's telling the truth right now, Representative?
Well, I do. No, I mean, you're not the only one. I mean, you do a better job than most. There's, well, no, listen, you want a little backup. You know, it's good to have a lot of people out telling the truth. But listen, Joe Biden's a likable guy. And that does mean that he gets the benefit of the doubt on a pretty regular basis from the media. You've also got a certain amount of political bias in the media. And I don't say that as some sort of an attack on them. We all have our biases.
Absolutely.
But I do think one big bias in the media is generally a bias toward captivating storylines, right? I mean, they want the clickbait to come through, and I would just tell you that the narrative that I think is of interest right now is the idea that Joe Biden is this great unifier, and that's a compelling storyline, and I just wish I saw more of that on the ground.
Sure. Now, I hope that's that might be the view in some people's eyes. I'm not sure it's that way for a lot of my listeners. However, before we get started talking about gun legislation, because it's kind of some bills that are floating around in Washington right now kind of worry me a little bit. But you and I, before we got on live on air, we was talking about this on YouTube a little bit. What happened at January 6th here? I mean, did the Capitol really get breached? I mean, we see, I was saying on the YouTube that some of the videos I've seen, it looked like the law enforcement were welcoming them in. And you know, I mean, how did all the photographers get in there and sit up at the right time and take all the photos? And it looks like everything was staged. What's going on here, Dusty?
Well, first off, I would say there are Capitol Police officers, some of them who are on administrative leave and are being investigated. You know, I have asked the acting chief of the police questions about that and didn't get and my colleagues as well. We had a lengthy briefing, and I'll be honest, I was pretty disappointed with the facts, with the information we didn't get. Mm-hmm. Lots of questions were asked. Not a lot of them were answered. Clearly, this is a review that's going to continue because there are some things that happened that are a little hard to explain right now. Listen, the storming the Capitol was real. I mean, I was there. There were people who were angry. There were people. Now, listen, there were, on the other side of the wall, there were also a lot of people who were did not have any interest in storming the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And you're really talking about two different events here, and I don't want to conflate the two. But for the people that stormed the Capitol, these were bad guys. I mean, a lot of these guys were looking to do damage to people and property, and frankly, they did.
Can I ask you this one question, and I don't know if you can answer it or not? Were they hired by somebody else to portray folks on the right-hand side?
Well, we're starting to get better data about who these folks are because we've been able to pick them up. They've been arraigned and they've been charged, and I think we're at 250 now. And there is not this large group of people who have backgrounds as Antifa activists or something. No, I'm not. I have heard, although I haven't gotten to the bottom of it, that there may have been one or two with that kind of background, but at least for the folks who've been arraigned so far, that has not been any kind of a dominant background to them.
Okay. When a person looks at some of the photos that I see on social media or any kind of media for that matter, the fence that's around the Capitol grounds right now, how does that feel waking up and having to get checked in like that?
Listen, this is terrible. It is getting seriously ridiculous. I have asked, again, eyeball to eyeball, I have asked the acting sergeant at arms and the acting chief of police if they have any actionable intelligence that there is a threat that would warrant that kind of security posture. And keep in mind, when they're briefing members of Congress, we have security clearance. I mean, we are getting briefings on the most legitimate and gravest threats, foreign and domestic, facing our nation. So it's not like this is an environment where they can't talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's remember who's working for who here, right? I mean,
exactly.
And they have not shared that information with the members of Congress. And I don't want to accuse anybody in law enforcement of anything nefarious with regard to their motivations, because I don't know, and we want to make sure that we've got the data before we accuse people of something. But they better make better information available to members of Congress soon, because if they don't, they're going to have more and more of us have to assume, in the absence of facts, that this is political theater, that razor wire and 5,000 National Guardsmen and 3 layers of fencing and magnetometers so that members of Congress have to be security checked yet. I mean, again, before hitting the House floor, that is not consistent with a threat profile, and instead is something else.
Is it just theatrics for those? I mean, I don't want to mention names, but I'm going to, because I can. Is Pelosi doing this just as a theatrics to show, try to, I don't know, fear mongering? Is that the right word?
I think an increasing number of members of Congress believe that. And, I'll give you one example. I don't want to, nobody feels bad for members of Congress. So I'm really not trying to get sympathy here, but
Dusty, hold that thought right there, because I'm up against our first break, and I want you to have ample amount of time to say this. So stand by with me here as we have Representative Dusty Johnson out of the great state of South Dakota. If you want to call in, feel free to do so. 888-932-5682. If you have questions, we're going to be talking. We'll finish this conversation, but we'll talk gun control. It's coming up next year on Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. Just a reminder, Ponderosa Screen Printing and Embroidery in Rapid City, South Dakota. Make sure you call my buddy Doug Morrison down there. Jackets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, caps, promotional products, any kind of safety line equipment. Ponderosa Screen Print and Embroidery. We'll be back right after these messages.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. It's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. 1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment right, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these upcoming farm equipment auctions in Sioux Falls, Steele, Bowman, Jamestown, Bowdoin, Marmarth, Lear, Raleigh, and Bismarck. In March, Piper's will be hosting the two-day Western Dakota Equipment Auction in Bowman, featuring the Charlie Hilton and Abercrombie retirements, followed by the premier Reuben and Clarice Lichty Farm Retirement Auction in Jamestown. Inventory is updated daily on all Piper's equipment auctions, including the quarterly timed online-only auctions and our multiple regional equipment auctions in North and South Dakota. Get all details and information at pipers.com.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition, that is. You can catch my weekly program at all radio stations you're listening to right now, or you can find it at DakotaPrairieOutdoors.com. Before we get started back in here, Action Motorsports, your one-stop need. If you want yourself a Polaris Ranger, a General, a Razor, or Sportsman, they also carry snowmobiles, but since that might not be the right weather right now here in the Dakota Territory, how about a new motorcycle? I've seen a lot of those out the other day. Action Motorsports can set you up with any work or recreational vehicle you need or need, kind of the same thing sometimes. Full service in the parts department. You can keep it running strong, and you can also trick your ride out with our custom accessories department. Give Britt or any of the guys at Action Motorsports a call today. Stop in on the strip in Mandan. Action Sports. Get this, go to their website, actionsportpolaris.com. They have it updated every single day. Representative Dusty Johnson is my guest here. I'm going to say Mitchell. You're born in Fort Pierre, you said?
Well, yeah, Fort Pierre and Pierre, my family kind of bounced back and forth on both sides of the river.
All right. So you're going to claim the Pierre and Fort Pierre area, Mitchell, and where are you going to move to next? You're going to go to Kadoka and get a sign put up down there too?
Well, Kadoka's a heck of a community. They always treat me real nice in Kadoka.
It is a nice little place. Went through that area as well. Before the break, we were just talking about, I asked you the question is some of these people using the fence and all the security around the Capitol as a fear-mongering thing, and I had to cut you off, and I'll let you continue that.
Well, and I just think it culturally gives you a sense of the differences, and all your listeners know this, but the folks on the left side of the aisle, they don't understand, they don't appreciate firearms. You have a lot of Republican members who, because of the increased threats on their lives, have started to carry. And it gives them a sense of confidence. They're allowed to do that on the Capitol grounds. There's a rule that says they can't have it on the floor of the House chamber. Now, it's really hard to carry if, when you're running to go vote, you got to figure out what to do, with your sidearm.
Sure.
And they don't have any lockers for them, and there's no environment where people want to support this Second Amendment right. And instead, the speaker's gone the other way, which she's put magnetometers up at every door going into the chamber. She's got, I don't know how many police officers. I bet there are times there's 24 who could be out doing other things or could be at home with their family. Instead, they're patting down members of Congress because I guess the speaker thinks the threat is from members of Congress, even though there is no intelligence that suggests a member of Congress is interested in hurting another member of Congress.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see my tax dollars going somewhere useful, Dusty.
Well, I'll tell you what, members, Scott, are getting more and more upset about it because it really feels like the speaker is engaged in political theater.
It is, and it looks like it from our side too here. So let's talk gun control. First off, got a text message that says, real happy to have Dusty Johnson on. It says a great choice for an interview. So again, thank you for coming on the program today, Representative. Now, common sense gun laws here. Let's talk about the Biden administration. We have some issues going on here. And I know one of the, I forget the numbers. Was it House Bill 157 or where
127?
127. Okay. Let's start talking about that right away, because what is it? And us in the Dakota Territory, we hold them. I guarantee most farm and ranch pickups have some type of firearm in it. Heck, I think I would beg to say most people with just a regular vehicle that's not a farm or ranch vehicle probably have a firearm in it. What are we looking at with this bill that they're trying to get through?
Well, again, if you wanted an Exhibit A, Scott, for how some of our urban friends just don't understand firearms at all, HR 127 is a pretty good example. Now, this is Sheila Jackson Lee, and boy, she can be a lot to handle. But the way this thing is written is,
I like how. Hold on, Dusty. I like how politically correct you are, but she's a lot to handle.
Well,
best line of the day. Yeah.
I mean, she just doesn't understand it. This thing is written, and it shows that the people who wrote it do not understand firearms. So it says, because of course guns and ammunition are scary, right? So the bill states it shall be unlawful for any person to possess ammunition that is 50 caliber or greater. Now, the violation of that is a fine of at least, so it's a floor, not a ceiling, $50,000 and imprisonment of at least 10 years. Now, they don't talk about the difference between, a pistol and a shotgun. So that means a 28 gauge shell, of course, a 12 gauge shell, any shotgun shell other than a 410 would be against the law to possess. And here's the absurdity of it. Remember, we had President Biden before he was president saying nobody needs an assault rifle. If you're concerned about home protection, you need a 12 gauge. Well, the 12 gauge ammunition would be illegal under this bill. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're getting me fired up. I have so many things I'd like to say, but I'm going to try to keep it nice here this morning, as best I can. So let's talk about this. So assault weapons, and this is the one that really gets me. And I use quotations when I say assault weapons because I can use my fists to be assault weapons. And the weapons of war is what really gets me when, I see that they're trying to eliminate immunity for gun manufacturers for those that design and build weapons of war is part of this here Biden administration. My very first rifle, Representative, is a 1903 Springfield I used for my very first deer. That was used in the war. Okay, so that weapon of war, I mean, are they blanketing? I mean, pretty much any firearm could be considered a weapon of war. I mean, a Colt 45, right? A single action Army Colt. I mean, that's all weapons of war at one time. Are they using the backdoor side of things here and using very vague information or terms to completely take everything that we have away?
Yeah, I mean, some certainly are. And adding to that problem is you have a certain number of well-intentioned people who, because they are ignorant about firearms and about ammunition, have these kind of ridiculous opinions. I mean, I feel like if you paint any gun black, they think that's an assault rifle. Yep. Right? And it looks a little scarier without any understanding of, well, I don't know, sir, one pull of my finger is one round. Actually, I mean, how is this any different than one that looks like you would take it out deer hunting? I mean, clearly they have some different capabilities, but you're not actually talking about capabilities. You're using these descriptors like weapons of war or assault. And that is not how we should be attacking constitutional rights.
Are they going to win eventually? That's my concern. I mean, you throw enough, against the wall, sometimes it's going to stick.
Well, that's the problem with one-party rule. I mean, we've got one party in charge of the House, of the Senate, and the White House. And I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not one of these guys that posts on Facebook and Twitter every day that they're coming to take our guns or coming to take our guns. Of course, we need to be vigilant. Mm-hmm. And of course, some of these threats are real. But I would tell you, the threats are a lot more real now than they were even just 6 months ago. Now, is H.R. 127 going to pass? That's not going to pass. That's crazy. I mean, there are still too many rural Democrats to let anything like that go forward. But there are bills that passed the House last term that I voted against, gun control bills, that I don't know, that they've at least got a shot at getting through the Senate. And if they get through the House and the Senate, they will get signed into law by the president.
What would those all entail?
They want to close the Charleston loophole. I know a lot of your listeners know this, but let's be honest, this is not a loophole. What this says is, government, do your job. If the government cannot conduct a background check within 3 days, we're not going to continue to hold in abeyance the constitutional rights of American citizens. The government doesn't do their job, then the gun sale can move forward. They call that a loophole. I mean, I don't think a 3-day cap is a bug of the system. It's a feature. It holds the government accountable, and it makes sure that they have they have every reason to conduct these background checks in a timely manner. It's not a loophole.
No.
The Charleston loophole is the kind of thing that could get, again, loophole in quotes, could get taken away in the current political environment.
I tell you what, we have more. We have some text messages coming in about this loophole right now. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Representative Dusty Johnson is my guest, and the phone lines are open, 888-932-5682. It's a toll-free number, 888-9-DAKOTA. If you're cruising down the road and you want to try to remember it that way, feel free to call in, and we'll be glad to take your call, questions, and comments here. Again, the show brought to you by Ponderosa Screen Printing and Embroidery. My buddy Doug Morrison down in Rapid City, South Dakota. Give him a call, 605-341-7198. Tell him you heard it from Scott Bachmeyer, and you get 10% off. More after these messages.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com That's DakotaCommunityBank.com.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. It's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment right, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these upcoming farm equipment auctions in Sioux Falls, Steele, Bowman, Jamestown, Bowdoin, Marmarth, Lear, Raleigh, and Bismarck. In March, Piper's will be hosting the two-day Western Dakota Equipment Auction in Bowman, featuring the Charlie Hilton and Abercrombie retirements, followed by the premier Reuben and Clarice Lichty Farm Retirement Auction in Jamestown. Inventory is updated daily on all Piper's equipment auctions, including the quarterly timed online-only auctions and our multiple regional equipment auctions in North and South Dakota. Get all details and information at pipers.com.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Saturday edition, Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Music right there. Do you hear this guy? His name is Benny Paulson. The band is called Breakin' 8. You can find him on iTunes and all the music sources you want. Not only that, one heck of a bull rider. You can also see videos of him on YouTube. That's right. Action Motorsports on the strip in Mandan. I tell you what, go down, talk to the guys this morning, see what kind of deals they can make on a Polaris Ranger, General, Razor, or Sportsman. I tell you what, calving season in full swing for a lot of folks, and they're using them every single day to get the work done. Action Motorsports on the strip in Mandan. DK Red Angus sale going on today at the Sitting Bull auction in Williston, North Dakota. I'll be heading through the Bakken. I'll be heading up that way. If you want to ride with, let me know. I can pick you up and take you with. But the sale starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Scott and the friends up there, I can't wait to be your ringman and your representative for some great Red Angus purebred bulls. Representative Dusty Johnson is my guest here for the next, you got about 20 minutes to get your phone calls in or text message at 701-425-6651. That's 701-425-6651, and I can take your questions. Now, before the break, we were talking about the loophole, Representative, and I'll tell you this right now. The biggest worry I see on this loophole is they're really trying to come down on gun shows. You know, I mean, Sioux Falls has a huge one. We have them all across the Dakota Territory. There's one today in Glendive, Montana. Somebody just texted me and wanted me to mention that. But when you go to a gun sale, or if I sell a gun to you, there's no background check needed. It's an arm's length transition. That's what they're really. Are they going to come down on that too pretty hard? I mean, how are you going to regulate that?
Yeah, that was what passed out of the House last Congress. Of course, I voted against it, and it'll get out of the House again. I mean, Nancy Pelosi has a very narrow margin. She's only got 5 or 6 votes to spare, but she'll keep all the Democrats, or almost all the Democrats, together on this. So then the question is, can we hold the line in the Senate? And, the rural Democrats like Joe Manchin, I think, have a much deeper appreciation for guns than some of his urban colleagues. You just got to hope a guy like that. And plus they need 60 votes to get gun control legislation through. So, that helps a lot too, Scott.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the phone lines and take one here from a 220 number. Good morning. You're on with Representative Dusty Johnson.
Morning, Scott. Morning, Dusty. I've never heard you on the radio before. You sound like a pretty good representative for South Dakota there. You just kind of answered one of my questions. I was going to say, if anything passes the House, how many votes does the Senate need? So any gun control law would need 60 votes to pass in the Senate?
Well, it would, unless they blow up the filibuster. And listen, when Republicans are in control, they hate the filibuster because it slows things down. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of the filibuster, because I think we should not be making it easier for government to act, because all too often when government acts, it is eroding our rights. And thank goodness for the filibuster, because that means gun control efforts are a lot less likely to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with you. A couple other things I'd hit on. You guys are talking about that barbed wire and stuff around the White House right away. I think the Democrats just want that up there is to make everybody think like the evil Trump supporters are just frothing at the mouth to come and attack again. I mean, I think it's just, a way to make Trump and his Republicans in general look bad. And, well, go ahead. I thought you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention that it is, clearly they're not even all on the same wavelength on this message. I think you're right. Just one quick data point. So March 4th used to be inaugural day. So Nancy Pelosi said, as a result, maybe there could be additional violence like we saw on January 6th. The House is not going to be in March 4th. We're going to send everybody home. It's going to be too dangerous to be here. The threat is terrible. Well, you walk a couple hundred feet, north, and there is Chuck Schumer's Senate. They're meeting on March 4th. They're not concerned. They're not scared. How real was the threat?
Right. And, instead of calling these gun control laws, I think you guys should start calling them Second Amendment prohibition laws. Gun control doesn't, it needs to sound as evil as it is to me. And I think what they're definitely trying to do is, throw prohibition down on our guns and our gun rights like they did alcohol. And they're always talking about inciting violence too. Well, you know what? When people like Biden and Pelosi and all these Democrats are threatening to, force buyback guns, ban this, ban that, that's inciting violence. I run it through my head more than once. What am I going to do if they do get this passed about banning AR-15 semi-automatics? I can say I'm not going to give it up, and I hope I wouldn't. But anything that would happen when it comes to taking guns away, that blood and of civilians or law enforcement, that would be directly on Biden's hands and the Democrats, in my opinion. And that's about all I got for you guys.
Okay.
Hey, appreciate you coming on.
All right.
Appreciate your show, Scott.
You bet.
Have
Thanks.
a good day, guys.
Appreciate it, Jamie. Thanks for calling in. 888-932-5682. Let's go to Jesse. You're on with Representative Dusty Johnson. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, Dusty. Just wanted to, I don't mean to switch gears on you guys here, but I want to know your thoughts, Dusty, on some of the other things that are going on that are affecting both of our states, the Dakota Territory, if you will, as a whole, and the whole upper Midwest, where our farmers and ranchers are trying hard to feed the nation. They shut down all these oil pipelines, and people keep wondering, the pandemic is still supposedly going on the coasts. All of us in the middle part of the United States don't really give a rip anymore. But you look at the price of fuel, you look at the price of goods on the shelves, steel, lumber. I fully believe that that's directly tied to shutting down of these oil pipelines. So now there's only two ways to move that product, and that is truck and rail. And they have taken up a lot of the capacity of our system in our United States to move goods by shutting down the oil pipelines, which has made all these other products go up.
Jesse,
is there any talk of that?
Who owns the railroad? I'll tell you this right now. First off.
Oh, I know.
Okay, all right.
I know that.
All right.
But it's just, what is there any talk in the House and the Senate about what we can do to combat this and get things open back up? We have completed pipelines sitting there that now they've shut down or restricted flow on, and it's costing our farmers and ranchers a lot of dollars. They can't get their grain out, getting ready to go to the field. It's affecting beef prices, affecting fuel prices hugely, where guys are buying their inputs to put in their crops.
Yeah, this is really legitimate. I mean, everything you're saying is a legitimate concern. And we're trying to push back. I mean, Kelly Armstrong from North Dakota and I have a bill that would take the presidential permit power away from the president. I mean, it is ridiculous. I mean, Keystone XL spent 12 years getting literally dozens of permits at the state, local, and federal level. All of these permits, the applicant had to meet their burden of proof. These were legal proceedings that had to be based on evidence. And so environmental reviews, I mean, just the whole nine. So we're in this country, a free country, we're going to give one guy the super veto to tell all of those other environmental reviews and all of those other local, state, and federal entities that they know less than he does. It's ridiculous. And I would say this, of course, I mean, you're right about, ripple effects on price and jobs and all that. That's legitimate. But one thing that I don't think enough of us are talking about, think about the ripple impact on the rule of law. This has been a country where a deal is a deal. That is a big reason why our economy outperforms the economies of Europe, because we have consistent and predictable regulation. This is not a pipeline that was about to get started. This is a pipeline that's been under construction. To your point, a pipeline that a lot of it was already built. And now we're going to take a multi-billion-dollar project because we had an election, and we're going to destroy all of that investment. Why would anybody in this country ever invest in a big infrastructure project again when there's an election always around the corner? This was a terrible decision.
Yep. Well, I just hope that you guys, we know Kelly pretty well. He really goes to bat for our state and our economy. I hope you two can get some others to follow with you and get some stuff done. I appreciate all your work.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the call. 888-932-5682. Again, that's 888-932-5682. Text message comes in, Representative Dusty, and says, lumber is getting unreal. Does Dusty know, is the Canadian border still closed to commerce right now? Do we know that?
I don't think it's closed to commerce. It is closed to, visitors. I mean, most human bodies can't cross, but you can still get products across. But this lumber issue with Canada predates the pandemic. It's for real, and it is imposing a real cost on our economy.
Jesse started one thing I guess I didn't even think about bringing up, and it affects me, is the Green New Deal with AOC. She's really pushing that my cows produce too much methane here, Dusty. Where are we? Did you see that? Did you see the social media meme about putting, I forget who it was, so-and-so in, that cows produce more greenhouse gases than vehicles do. And they said, well, let's put that guy in a garage with a vehicle running, and I'll stay in the garage with all my cattle, and we'll open up the door and see who's doing better in the next day. Did you see that one?
I did not see it, but it's a pretty cute way to make the point. I mean, I think we all know the right answer.
We do. But the urban people, it seems like they're more and more removed from that agricultural side, and there's more of them.
There are more of them, and I think we're starting to get savvier about telling our story. We need to do even a little bit better. I think we realize, those of us in rural America realize, fewer and fewer of our buddies grew up in very rural communities or on the ranch or on the farm. And we gotta, I mean, it's great to complain about the urbanites, but at some point we're going to need their votes to hold the line on some of this stuff. And so I'm trying to do a better job, Scott, of building coalitions. And, frankly, I'm trying to figure out, how do we get some of these most urban members out to South Dakota, out to North Dakota? Let's give them a little field trip here. Yeah. Let's let them actually sit down with the hardworking men and women who are trying to feed the world. There is no way you can sit down with an American rancher at his house, drink a cup of coffee, talk to him and her, and not come away with the sense that these are some of God's greatest creations, and we don't want to destroy that.
Yeah. Are some of them willing to do that, or are they just blind, turn their back to it and say, well, would they be willing to do this? I mean, are you making any ground on getting this bipartisan?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's sort of fun in today's hyper-political environment to act like, anybody who's a different political party than I am, they're evil and they're bad Americans. Well, listen, there are clearly plenty of knuckleheads in Congress. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some whose views are so diametrically opposed to mine that it's hard for me to understand how they think their views are good for this country. I get it. But there are others, right? I mean, the kind of Democrats who are our cousins or our neighbors or people. I mean, listen, we got good people that we can build these coalitions with. And yes, they are open to it, and we need to make sure we're working with them to the greatest extent we can.
Text message comes in actually from the guy that I use his music for my radio program. Benny says, ask Representative Johnson about carbon bank payments to egg producers.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We had a hearing last week in the Ag Committee on this, and there was a lot of discussion about this.
What exactly is it?
Right. Well, I mean, the Biden administration wants to pay farmers and ranchers for practices that store carbon. And this would be like a carbon bank. And it gets really complicated. And frankly, a lot of the money in this sort of a system gets gobbled up with these carbon credits. And how do you transfer them, and how do you administratively move them? And it's got a real shot of being a boondoggle. Now, some people think it's also got a real shot of being providing another revenue stream for production ag. I would say this: we don't have anywhere near enough details on this thing to understand what its real impact would be. My concern on the early going is they're going to take dollars that have been used to support production agriculture in this country through things like the Title I programs and the Farm Bill and others, and they're going to move those from that purpose into an environmental purpose. And that could have real threats to American agriculture.
Yeah. We're almost up against time here. We got about 5 more minutes, 4 or 5 more minutes. And I have so many more questions. Hopefully one of these days you can come back with me. Very quickly, the stimulus packages that have been going out, especially, CFAP 1 and CFAP 2. I know the 2.1 or CFAP 3, as some people call it, are looking to come out here shortly. The PPP payments. Where's all this money coming from, Representative? I know it's tax dollars, but do we really have that much to give to other countries too?
Well, we're in a bad way on spending. And early on in the pandemic, helping out to get through the valley was widely bipartisan. The CARES Act passed 97-0. Mm-hmm. And when you got Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders on the same page, you know we're living in interesting times. And I think a lot of that support was a relatively good investment. Now, you're never going to put $1 trillion out on the streets and not have waste, fraud, and abuse. But, judging on the curve, a lot of that stuff was pretty good. That's not where we're at right now, Scott. I mean, President Biden's $1.9 trillion plan is not needed. It is grossly out of proportion with the needs of this country. Could we spend a little bit more on vaccines and testing? Sure. Could we spend a little bit more on, nutrition assistance for families that are having a hard time eating? Okay, sure. I think we could get some bipartisan votes on that. But we got 26 states, including yours and including mine, whose tax revenues are higher today than they were a year ago. And it's not just, states out here in the middle. California has a $10 billion surplus. And Biden's plan would give him $41 billion more. Talk about butter on bacon.
Mm-hmm.
We got $1 trillion of this money that we've appropriated over the course of last year that hasn't even hit the bricks yet. And we're going to pour more on top of that? A lot of this stuff is now self-imposed. We got 40% of American school kids that are not allowed to go to school in classroom. They're falling behind their peers. Their mental health is not in good shape. The CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics says these kids can be in school safely. What are we doing? And the Biden plan does not even incentivize in-classroom learning. So listen, I know I need to wrap up, but you got me fired up. Where are we going? Where is this money coming from? It's all being borrowed from the Chinese. And as we talk about things like the pipeline going away and all the upward pressure that puts on price, at some point, we're going to trigger inflation, and we're going to trigger inflation because of borrowing. And that is not going to be a good situation for this country.
Couple of text messages, more of a comment than anything. One says the only stimulus package we need is to open everything up. Another gentleman says carbon credits were started in the Obama years, and we had some experience with it. He says run away as fast as you can from it. So people are interested. They're listening. Representative, how do people get in touch with you if they have questions, comments on the federal side, like I did? What's the best way to contact? Their local representative or you?
Yeah, I would tell you, I think going to the website's great. A lot of people want to do something like send a Facebook Messenger message or make a comment on a Facebook post, and we try to stay on top of that. There's just not a good process for making sure we close the loop. So Go to a website, go to the House website, send us a message. We'll turn it around as quick as we can. We love hearing from people. And I'll just say this. There have been bills that I've gotten passed through Congress, ideas that did not come from me, but came from American ag producers. And keep the ideas coming because they matter.
And one thing we haven't mentioned, but we have 60 seconds to do so, is our rural broadband carriers that without my rural broadband carrier, I couldn't do my program here and have a little bit of extra income coming in this way. And I know you're a big supporter of the NTCA as well.
Oh, yeah. I love rural broadband. This has given our rural folks an opportunity to compete. And those are investments that are a heck of a lot more worthy than some of the stuff the federal government spends money on.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Representative Dusty Johnson, thank you so much for your time today. Have yourself a great weekend.
Sounds good. Thanks, Scott. Bye.
Representative Dusty Johnson. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Hey, just a reminder, the DK Red Angus sale going on today. I'm going to be hitting the road as soon as I get done off the program right here and busted my way up to the Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. DK Red Angus is their top coming to town production sale. 69 purebred Red Angus bulls, 3 Red Angus and Charolais composite bulls, 4 red and black Angus composite bull cross, 2 black red gene carrier bulls. And they got some Red Angus yearling heifers, 45 of those fancy registered ones. And I'll tell you what, 10 Red Angus commercial yearling heifers. And if that's not enough for you, 10 commercial open heifers as well from some of these other consigners coming in your way. And there's 75% Red Angus and 25% Char composite bred heifers. I'll tell you what, 2 o'clock this afternoon, Sitting Bull Auction is the place to be. And I'll be there. Make sure if you hear it here on the radio, come up and shake my hand. I'd be happy to talk with you. If you want to catch more of my daily program, you can catch it on up to 22 radio stations across the Dakota Territory, and you can do that, DakotaPrairieOutdoors.com. You can also catch it on YouTube. Have a good day. All right, thank you, radio stations. Appreciate it very much. And for the YouTube guys, hey, Mr. Matthew Olson. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be heading out of here. Thanks, YouTube. Keep sending the link. I need more subscribers, and the more I get, the more I can do mobile shows as well. Have yourself a great weekend. Eat some meat, drink some milk.